Hey guys, this is Eric from Mindful Trader. When I post stock picks, the subscriber is not going to be able to make the trade at the exact same moment that I make it. There's going to be some amount of delay from the time the subscriber can see the pick that I posted and the time I actually made the trade. And what I wanted to find out is whether or not the amount of that delay has any economic consequence for the subscriber. In other words, if the subscriber is very delayed at seeing the stock pick relative to when I posted it, does that have a negative consequence? Does it have a positive consequence? I just wanted to know more about that. And so what I did is I did a study where I took, and I'm going to grab it and pull it into the screen here. I took what ended up being a 3-week period of live trades, and I tried to find out what the profitability of the trades would have been if the subscriber exhibited a 15-minute delay in seeing and making the trade from the time I posted it. And then I checked a 1-hour delay, a 3-hour delay, and a 1-day delay. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how I conducted the study and show you what the results were. I'm assuming that in this case, the subscriber or the person took every single trade. Of course, in real life, you aren't required to do anything. I'm not advising you to do anything. I'm just telling you what trades I'm making, and you do whatever you want with that information. But for the purpose of the study, just for consistency, just for the sake of understanding, how one amount of delay compares to my trades, I wanted to see with every trade I made, what would have happened if the subscriber had made the trade. Now I'm going to show you an example of how I did it. So first of all, these are all the trades I alerted on my watch list over that 3-week period that's in question here. And it shows all the relevant information, the ticker, the price I entered for, etc. Everything that I put when I post the stock pick is right here for me to use as a basis of comparison. And now I'm going to show you how I gathered the information for the various delay increments. So I have on my screen here PayPal, PYPL, and I'm going to bring this onto my screen. These are my live positions. This is where I post my stock picks. If you signed up for the Mindful Trader service, then you'll have access to my stock picks in the login section, and this is what they look like. And you'll see down here I have PayPal. It's still one of my live positions. And it shows I opened the position on February the 23rd at 6:30 a.m. And I have that open on my screen now. I'm in Thinkorswim now. And this is a 1-minute chart down here on the bottom. And this is 6:30 a.m. on February the 23rd. So this is when I got into the position. And let me just remember, I got in at 258.51. And so 258.51 is right around there. So I got in right around there. And you can see right after I got in, right after I posted this to my stock picks list, the price went down, kind of came back, went down again. And so through this period, you could have actually gotten it for a better price than me. And then it went up to be higher. This is, maybe half an hour later. And now it's above the price. And that just first of all gives you an idea of the reality of this, which is that the price, once you see a stock pick that I made, could be lower or it could be higher. It could be a little lower or a little higher. It could be a lot lower or a lot higher. So let's go through the study and see what that means. Like let's see if there's maybe a systematic way to approach the stock picks where you can kind of have some data behind it and know that you're making a decision that's backed by some data. So if I'm looking at a 15-minute increment of delay, then considering the fact that I got in at 6:30 that morning, I would look 15 minutes later at 6:45 and see what was the price that a subscriber could have gotten at that time. Now, I'm kind of mousing over the 1-minute price bar at 6:45. So your price as a subscriber, if you were exactly 15 minutes late, would have fallen somewhere in that range of that price bar. How did I pick which price to go with? I decided to go with the opening price. And the reason is for consistency and simplicity. So the opening price here, it shows it up here indicates what the opening price is of whatever bar you're moused over. And so for 645, it shows it's $256.99. So that's the value I picked up in my study. Now, could I have used the closing price? Yep. Could I have used the mid price of the range? I could have. What I am contending is that doesn't really make any difference on the outcome of the study. And what I'm doing is I'm posting a link to the Excel file on the page where this study and where this video are published, so that you can open the Excel file yourself, so that you, if you wanted to, can go investigate this on your own and do the same sort of research that I do. But what you'll find is basically, because these are swing trades where, you know, they typically last a week, the movement that you'll see in one bar is not enough to have a material outcome on the overall study. And you can test it for yourself. You can go back to any of these stocks that I'm about to show you in this study, and you can go and see, well, what would the entry price have been if it were the close price on all of them? And I'm just telling you from experience, it's not going to materially change the outcome. But you can check it for yourself if you want to have your own firsthand understanding of what I'm talking about with that. So I took the opening price. I was consistent with it each way. So I took the 15-minute delay mark of what the entry price would have been. And then I took the 1 hour delay mark. Like I say, I checked the 15-minute delay, a 1 hour delay, a 3 hour delay, and a 1 day delay. Those are the different delay intervals I wanted to check and see how this would impact the trade's profitability over that 3-week period. So at the 1 hour mark, it would be 7:30. And let's see here, the opening price was $265.19 in this case. The 3 hour mark would have been 9:30 a.m. So I would have gone to 9:30 and grabbed that piece of data. And then the 1 day mark would have been the next day. Keep going here to go to the next day. This is the grayed out section in Thinkorswim. That's the extended hours trading. The next day at 6:30, at the same exact time the next day, like literally 24 hours later, I took the opening price from there. And you can see here in this case for PayPal, it was $266.13, which was noticeably higher than the entry price that I got when I posted the stock pick. Okay, so now you know how I collected this data. And I want to say that as you may have already inferred, the study that I'm doing is assuming that the subscriber gets in at a market price. In other words, when I set this order and I post it right here as a live position, that I'm just for this study, I'm assuming that you're getting in, like whatever the price is when you go there, you're getting in. Meaning you use a market order, just get me into the position. This study does not assume that you're using a limit order. Now, if you use a limit order and you say, I'm only going to get in if I get the price Eric put on his stock picks notice or better, if you put a limit order to only get the price I got or better, it's a completely different study. And I haven't done that study. It's actually a lot more complicated to do. So that is not a study I've done yet. The study I'm doing in this one assumes when you, after that delay has happened, that you're getting in with a market order and forcing your way into the position, whatever the price is. Like whatever the price is when you get to it, you're getting into the position. That's the assumption on this study. So let's go back. And so again, for each of these tickers, I have the price I paid, and therefore I put onto my live positions page when I officially posted the stock pick. I have the price that I got from 15 minutes later, from 1 hour later, from 3 hours later, and from 1 day later. I have that all. I went through each of these tickers and gathered all that information. And again, I'm going to post this on the site. You can review any of these that you want to go see for yourself. The data ties together. And then I have a singular exit price. What does this mean? This means this is another assumption of the study. And these assumptions, by the way, are based on what I would do if I were a subscriber of this service. So if I were subscribing to these stock picks, I would be executing trades and following the stock picks in a way that's in line with the assumptions that I'm telling you, like using a market order to get in. I'm not advising you to do that. I'm just telling you that's what I would do. You can do whatever you want. I'm just letting you know based on the information I have, that's what I would be doing. Now, as far as exit price, I would leave the profit exit and the stop loss that were announced in the stock pick. I would leave those. So even if there was a 3-hour delay from the time the stock pick was posted and the time I got into the trade, I would still use the same existing stop loss and profit exit, no matter what my entry price is. And so, for example, here PayPal, let's say my entry price was $262, I would still, even though I paid a higher price than what was posted here, I would still personally leave this profit target and this stop loss. And again, I'm not telling you to do that. Use this information to form your own decisions. Use it as a source of education to construct your own approach. Anyway, that's the assumption that I made for this study, that the subscriber would have gotten out at the same exact profit target or stop loss that was announced when the stock pick was posted. And some trades, of course, have a time limit. And if I got out by that time limit based on what was posted here, then I assumed, of course, that the subscriber did the same thing. So in other words, the exit price the subscriber got is the same exit price I got in my real trades, because I'm assuming they followed the same exit strategy as what I posted in the stock pick. Okay, so exit price is always the same on each one of these. And then I went and just figured out, okay, well, what's the profit? And so first I calculated it by share. And then since I knew my exact share counts for my live trades, I just went in and figured out the actual profit itself based on what I got for the trades that I made, and based on the amount of delay that I assumed from the time the subscriber made the trade relative to when I posted the stock pick. And let's walk through some of these. First of all, the very first one is a loss. This is a perfect opportunity. I always try to talk about this. There are losses with this service. Seeing losses is totally normal. Losses with this service, since there's losses, even in backtest, there's losses 43% of the time. That's almost half the time. Losses are as normal as brushing your teeth. I mean, losses are going to come. So that is something, if you sign up for this service, I want you to be aware that is part of this service. And if that's something that's really hard for you to deal with, this may not be the right service for you. So there's a loss there. And I just want to point out some other interesting examples. Here's one, and let me see if I can see. Let's see. So this was TEL was the ticker, where I ended up taking a loss on it. And if the person had gotten in one day later, like they were very late to there was a big delay from the time they saw the stock pick, or at least that they traded it, to the relative to the time that I made the trade, they actually would have walked out with a small little profit, whereas I took a big loss. So sometimes they go in your favor, and that's not all the time. Like I showed an example just earlier where with PayPal, the subscriber would have gotten a much higher price if they got in a day later. So this is just, we're just gathering the data and going to kind of see how it all shakes out. I think what I'm trying to show, among other things, is that the individual trade is kind of like this microscopic data point in the big picture. I mean, in the moment, if I post a stock pick and you end up getting you get to it at a time when the price is much higher, it may feel like, rats, this is crazy. I'm getting a way higher price. This is worse. But I don't want to tell you what to do, but it might be helpful to think about the big picture, because these things have a way of evening out. I mean, I just showed you with TEL, you would have gotten a way better price than me if you were late. And yet on PayPal, if you were late, you may have gotten a way worse price than me. Okay, and there's one other thing I want to show you before we get to the totals here, and that is this row right here. So I'm going to go to the left. This trade happened to be for MES futures. Occasionally, I make trades on the MES futures, and it's only one futures product that I trade, It's the MES futures, and I do trade it occasionally. To me, it's an important thing. Not every subscriber wants to trade it, and that's okay. You can do whatever you want. But I want to point it out here because you'll notice I have N/A for the 1 day later profitability. And the reason is because just for this particular trade, after I posted the stock pick, the price just happened to go in the right direction right away. And by 1 day later, the trade had already hit its profit target. Now that doesn't happen very often. Most of my trades last about a week on average. So that's more typical, but sometimes they go up right away. And this one, I wanted to make sure that was accounted for. I wanted to make sure it was factored in, the fact that if the subscriber saw the stock pick 1 day later, that they would have gotten nothing from that, because that's an important piece of data, and we need to factor that in to make sure we're looking at this in a way that's considering everything. So let's get to the results. The results, so over that 3-week period of trades, I had $1,328.52 of profit, and there was, as far as a return on the account size I was trading, it was a 3.38% return on the account. Now look at this. Each of the other intervals of delay actually could have had a higher return than me. So by being delayed, interestingly, it actually could have ended up in more profit than I got in my own account. And I'm the one who posted the stock picks. So that's exciting to me. That's really encouraging because it means that there is potential value in this service as far as subscribers being able to get a profitability that's similar to what I'm getting. That's like my biggest concern in running this service, is that whatever I trade and whatever I accomplish, I want to ensure that subscribers are able to accomplish the same thing. And this study is really encouraging to me because it shows that based on the way I did that study, that indeed could have been possible, and actually better, even better. So that's exciting. So at the 15-minute delay mark, the profit was noticeably better. At the 1 hour delay mark, it was a little better. At the 3 hour delay mark, a little better. And at the 1 day later mark, a lot better, interestingly. Even accounting for that MES order where I had gotten a lot of profit, and the 1 day later entry would have missed the trade altogether. So that's pretty interesting to me. That's fascinating, really, to me. Now, I do want to caution that this is a small data set. It is 3 weeks of trades, which is great. I mean, that's a fair amount of time, but it's still not enough data for us to be able to say conclusively what the outcome is. But I do feel like it's very encouraging, and I would say that I wouldn't expect that by being delayed seeing my stock picks that you should expect to make more money than I make on the trades. Again, this is a small data sample, but I think there's enough information here to be encouraging and to maybe even to help subscribers make a decision about what approach they want to take when looking at my stock picks, whether to use a market entry or not, whether to take the trade or not. And again, all this data is available to you if you want to kind of look at it more closely outside of this video. So I hope that helps. I think it's pretty exciting. If you have any questions or comments about it, you can email me anytime. It's Eric, ERIC, at mindfultrader.com. Thanks, guys.